Oh. Wow. That is excellent. Okay, here we go. Yes, what a busy Tuesday it is. My goodness, with the news. And the good news is we're going to bring you up to speed on all of it. Uh, okay. All right, folks, we are going to begin in just 4 minutes. Let me double check. Hold on. I want to do a couple things. Okay, we're good to go. They're not posting anything about it. Oh, great. Roger says we're ready to go. There we go. Thank you, Roger, folks. There's the sound. Excuse me. All right. Great. Okay. Let me check. So YouTube sound is good. X is good. Now the big one. Yep. Normally I would think that Facebook is also fine, and it is. This Cheryl. Hi there, Denise Oliver. There's Micah Hearn, the big one. X is good. Now the big one. Yep. Folks starting to basically break news on a daily basis for those that are keeping track. How about ice in Warwick? I'm going to tell you about that. Let me just make sure. Yep. Oh, I should have put please share. I think we're going to come back at 4 o'clock. I don't know. I'm still up in the air. I think so. I'm not going to talk about it right now. But we're live with the breaking news. The owner of the Superman building has died. Are we supposed to be upset over this? You mean the guy that's kept it vacant since 2013? Gordon Fox was the speaker. Are we supposed to be the guy that has never done anything with the building? That at a press conference said that he and the mother were going to go out to eat at Federal Hill once they got it done? I mean, dead at 70. Well, he never got it done, that's for sure. That thing is still vacant. Still vacant. All these years later, this is insanity. I'm telling you, should have said forget it. I'm not saying the eminent domain. I'm not saying that, just to be clear. No one is saying that. But, it's the ultimate Fisher Cup 8. Or blank or get off the pod. All right, we're live in 1 minute. 1 minute. There we go. Okay. Maybe I'll come back. 4:30. All right. I think we'll see what Debbie says. I think so. At 4:30. Good afternoon, Maria. Ms. Polianati. Yes. I think so. Still debating it. Not major news on it, so I hate speculating. All right, we're going to begin. Well, folks, good afternoon. Yes, it is. 106, Tuesday, July 22nd, year of our Lord, 2025. It is true. This is the John DePietro Show. Now, you can listen on AM 1380 or 99.9 FM. That's true. You can always listen online at our website, dpetro.com. Now, right now, for this hour, we're live on X, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, and it's on demand, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that enough. Remember, if you ever miss something, you can go back. A lot of people watch it on replay. Actually, more people watch it on replay than watch it when we're live. But again, YouTube, X, Facebook, this portion of the program brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, right now, they have fantastic homegrown corn, nothing like summer corn, and also delicious peaches are available. They have a big selection of wonderful vegetables that are available. And where they're located, it would be perfect to stop by on your way back from the beaches. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Keep in mind, they're also a full-scale nursery. So everything to make your property, if you notice right now, we're actually in kind of a good rhythm right now where, we get some dry weather, then we get a lot of rainy weather. But stop it and see them. They grind it. They're open 7 days a week. And they have a great selection of beautiful patio pots, vegetable plants and herbs, trees and shrubs. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown, right off of Route 4. Pop in on your way back from Ganson. Folks, depetro.com. Now we have the videos up. Road Patrol, we have the police body cam. There's a lot there. You can check it out at depetro.com. Brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. Plus, they have the market at Coesit. We were just at the Coesit Inn on Saturday and had a great time. And the owner, Jim, came over, was chatting with us. The Coesit Inn, plenty of parking, safe, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Alan sent me an email. Alan asked me who is the company that I recommend for propane. Now, he lives in Rentham. You want to call Propane Plus in Massachusetts, 508-252-3359. In Rhode Island, 401-885-4209. Either way, they're right in Rehoboth. It's Propane Plus, the Johnson family. All your heating and cooling, 508-252-3359. And then remember, they have a great, easy-to-use website. It's propaneplus.com. You just type in zip code, residential or commercial. You can depend on Propane Plus. Again, in Massachusetts, if you're listing right now in Bellingham, or maybe you're listing, as high as, north as Worcester, or maybe you're in Uxbridge, good afternoon, or anywhere right over the line, right? Attleboro, Rentham, clearly, Rehoboth, 508-252-3359. And in Rhode Island, 401-885-4209 for Propane Plus. Well, folks, a number of different things to touch on. I'm going to jump around a little bit. I think later this afternoon, I think I will do it. We'll do, we go live on X, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. We'll talk a little bit about this juror that was in federal court. Thank God I didn't go to this. I actually weighed going. It's way downtown Boston. It's the federal courthouse. She was in court with her father for all of 5 minutes. And then they actually gave her kind of a private way out to avoid the media. I find that's interesting. That tells us something. I think I will. We'll come back at 4:30-ish, right around there. Dive into that a little bit, but not, we're not going to go full beer. But I do want to touch on some updates. So number one, we have video up on Facebook and Instagram and partly on X. I will have it up on YouTube shortly, but it's the type of thing that it happens. And right now, as far as I know, we're the only ones that are reporting it. And that is that, so ICE was at Kent County Courthouse in Warwick this morning. And it was a female suspect who was released by the judge. Now, why is this significant? As I have explained, in 2014, Governor Chafee, through executive order, basically said even if there's an ICE ICE detainer on the individual, in Rhode Island, the judge could just decide, let them go. So Governor McKee, as I have talked about, he could reverse it this afternoon. He could reverse it immediately, but he doesn't do that. So you had a suspect, Kent County Courthouse, female. There's an ICE immigration detainer placed on the individual. But because it's Rhode Island and they don't follow the rules under Governor McKee running a sanctuary state, they release her. However, ICE was waiting for her. This is someone they wanted. Now, I'm working to get more details on it. But this is someone, number one, pretty serious crime. Two, doesn't belong here in the first place. ICE wanted her. And instead, the judge releases her. So they grab her outside the courthouse. So we have the video up. And then also last Friday, there was, so you can see the video, and I will have it up on YouTube, but it's on Instagram and Facebook. I don't think anyone else has it. What else doesn't anyone else have? Now, folks, for those of you that follow, and I encourage people, listen, if you're on YouTube, you can send, what do they call them, like a super chat. If you're on Facebook, you can send stars. You can become a subscriber. You know, we deliver content that you can't get anywhere else, and many times first, which is valuable. So last Friday, there was a press conference, Broad Street in Providence, and this place, Crown Chicken, and they have the signs in the window. If you see ICE, call this, and they declared that this is a defense zone. So I went there Saturday and filmed it and posted it. And people contacted me and I said, hey, you have the right. You don't have to go there. You could let the owner know that you're not going to visit there if they're going to have these signs in the window, basically harboring a fugitive. That's what it says. And I also want to, there's so many people that are disingenuous. You know, and this is typical many times. People leave out what led to Friday. What led to Friday was a week ago in Silver Lake, and we went down the street last night. There was an illegal that McKee let out, even though ICE wanted to get this individual. So instead of picking him up at the courthouse, they have to grab him out in the neighborhood. There's a car chase, and then he crashes his car. People call the Providence police. He runs into a house. And then ICE manages to get him. So as a result of that, because in reaction to that, you have the Providence City Council, you have these different reps, you have different people that are upset, saying the Providence police, they help them. So what do? What happened in Silver Lake led to what you saw last Friday, which was a business on Broad Street, Crown Chicken. Is a defense zone. Any ICE or law enforcement, you can hide here. If you see ICE, call this number. We will provide sanctuary, a defense for anyone who's being pursued by ICE or law enforcement, by the way. So big press conference on Friday. And then those of you who were watching last night when we were out on Road Patrol Live on the Monday night, we'll be out tonight. And by the way, if you want to watch, listen, it's subscriber only for various reasons. I love these people. You know, you should really go out at like 3 a.m. You don't even watch. You're not even a subscriber. But anyhow, I'm very comfortable with the format we have at the moment. It works with my schedule and it's safer. But anyhow, so what we determined last night, I was in front of this place Saturday night on Broad Street. And then I was back in front of it last night. It's right near the CVS. I know exactly where it is. Tragically, I know exactly where it is. Tells you how, gives you an insight to how my life is working out these days. But anyhow, and what did we find? As I posted, no sign. No sign. So, so what does that mean? There's no sign. They took down the sign. How come the media? I don't think the media is reporting that. I don't think. I'll just double check. This is typical. They had it was the lead story. It was the lead story. And then I see nothing on Channel 12. See, why do you do the story that they're announcing it's defense zone against ICE? And then 3 days later, the sign is taken down. And no follow-up story? No follow-up story. Nothing. Nope. Suddenly that's not, how is that not news? See, that is that just not the narrative that they want? Do they want it to be like, this is great? This is great about this is fantastic what's happening. I don't know what to, I can't get into the mind of why they would not be covering that. That's a development, right? Of course it is. But why, how come they don't? Now, I was hearing from other businesses, they were being approached by different people and being almost pressured to put up one of these signs. I'm also amazed. Do you understand, if you're saying you're going to provide sanctuary to someone being pursued by ICE, that would include people that are accused of murder, people involved with a murder. I am a little amazed at the people that say, wait a minute, did you say pedophile? Listen, someone who's a pedophile, it's a hideous crime. It is probably one of the worst crimes, but it's not worse than murder. Just so we're clear on, did he say pedophile? They've been pedophile? Like, I don't understand the people. Wait a minute, did you say pedophiles? As if a pedophile is worse than a murderer? I mean, they're both horrific. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, to me, a homicide is worse. But anyhow, but what you have is there's still no one is spelling out the fact that so much of this could be avoided if, in fact, Governor McKee would be a leader, or if he were really call into question the policies that he adheres to, which are not helpful. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Roofco Rhode Island. Call Roofco Rhode Island today, 401-868-7149. 401-868-7149. Roofco Rhode Island. Call them for a free estimate. Maybe you have wind damage. Maybe you have a leaky roof, missing lifted or curled shingles, granules in the gutter. Roofco Rhode Island. Call them 401-868-7149. Free estimate. Now, again, I do share their Facebook page. They have very good social media. Whether you have wind damage or leaky roof, missing lifted or curled shingles, granules in the gutter, call Roofco Rhode Island, 401-868-7149. So I think that is interesting, where that is exactly right, Marianne. That is exactly right. By the way, there's a great piece, there's a great series on HBO, Netflix or HBO Max. It's about Ohio State wrestlers and the doctor that was allowed to be on staff. A doctor on staff that was doing things to these athletes, these college athletes at Ohio State. And it was just, there's definitely a pattern of individuals that do this. And it's so frightening that so much of this seemingly is, number one, rampant in male sports, but these are Ohio State wrestlers. So granted, North Kingstown had the naked I think the name of it is, I stumbled into it the other night. Surviving Ohio State. It is on HBO Max. It's just out this year. You got to watch that. Terrible what these, and there were so many of them. This went on, and they all just kind of accepted it. There should have been, when you have young guys speaking out, that someone, and these were wrestlers that every time you were hurt, the doctor had to check you over. I mean, it's actually difficult it's difficult to watch. And these are tough young guys. When you watch Surviving Ohio State, to me, then you look at what was going on in North Kingstown. If this doctor was abusing 20, 21 years old, 19, but even 22-year-old young men who are collegiate athletes, right? Some of the top wrestlers in the country. If you have a doctor doing that, why would anyone think that a 13-year-old boy at North Kingstown would say anything? Or it's so twisted. And I don't mean to go off on a tangent on it, because I do want to actually touch on, and some people may not get this, but I wish I could play more of it, but because of the language, you can't. But the Hunter Biden interview, I mean, that is the best interview I have seen in a long time. I can't get enough of it. Him slamming George Clooney. For those, and I get it. Some people say, Hunter, where's Hunter? Blah, blah, blah. You're missing the larger picture. He is unplugged. He is teeing off on the Democrat Party. He's brutal on George Clooney. He says, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. He's not really even an actor. He's a brand. Hunter Biden, he goes after Jake Tapper, saying who even watches him anymore? And the 2-week infomercial on the book. And he doesn't have sources. He is brutal. Goes after. I love it. He said, this is Hunter Biden now. James Carville, he hasn't won a race in 40 years. David Axelrod. He said, yeah, David Axelrod. Him and Rahm Emanuel feel that Rahm Emanuel should be the candidate. The Hunter Biden interview, I was howling watching it. I can't stop watching it. Now, admittedly, I don't mean to sound insensitive. I don't really care about the addiction stuff. I don't, because that just goes too far. It's unrelatable to, the whole thing about crack and everything else. But him going after the Democrat Party, and he his hatred is so compelling. Compelling maybe is the right word. He hates, I've heard of them. I've never heard one of their podcasts, but the Pod Across America, and these are guys they live in Beverly Hills, as he said, 4 white guys living in Beverly Hills that were low-level staffers for Obama are telling us what black voters think in South Carolina. Like, it's so good. He is now. I don't really know the interviewer that Hunter Biden sat down with. I hope someone convinces him to go on. And I don't mean someone like Stern. I mean, there are people who can do maybe like a Mark Halperin. First, I was thinking Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan sometimes, if he's not into it, he's just going through the motions. And I get the whole thing like a Larry King thing, like you don't prep too much. But sometimes I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think, actually, as I think of it, who would be really good. I don't know who Hunter Biden would sit down with. Like he's not, I don't think he's going to sit down. I mean, it'd be, I suppose if there's a way, I don't think Hannity could convince him, but I think like a Sunday show, maybe someone on evening, maybe Jonathan Carl. So I'd want someone that really knows. You want someone that actually kind of, they know what they're talking about, not some of these other stupid podcasts that I can't get through. Call Her Daddy, some of that stupid stuff. I don't watch that stuff. That's not I'm not the target demo. So if people like it, like whatever. But I'm just trying to think. You want him though, because he is setting a record with F. I mean, you can't imagine the number of F bombs he's dropping. But I think that's just. But it shows how angry he is, and it also it's so real. I think it's probably unnecessary. I mean, I know it's gratuitous and it's unnecessary, but I think it's also just it demonstrates how he speaks. That when he speaks this way, he is speaking this way. But the way he goes after Clooney is just, and he actually, a couple things came out of the interview that I didn't know that I want to talk, that I do want to touch on. I find it really interesting. Again, if you're one of those people that just say, Hunter, the laptop corruption, fine. It would just be dismissed. You don't find, or I don't, I should say, I should qualify it. I don't find many people compelling, but there's not all of it. I didn't watch the whole 3 hours, but there's parts of Hunter Biden because he's very knowledgeable. I mean, he's very plugged in, but the anger in which he goes after David Axelrod, and these are all the Obama people, and the way he goes after Rahm Emanuel and Jake Tapper, but his hatred for Clooney, I'm telling you, again, for some people, it won't be a match because you just dismiss all of it. But I just haven't seen an interview like that in a while. I haven't seen anybody that angry in a while. I like the Biden interviews where they're angry. One of the Donlins, Mike, I always confuse them. It's Mike and Tom Donlin. One of them was a senior advisor. He was at Harvard this past spring. They're both from Rhode Island. I know it was their brother Terry. So the three brothers. And he was a senior advisor to Biden. And he went off at Harvard where some symposium or, I don't know. They just have like anyone can come in and talk and so forth. And Donlin he's still angry that they pushed Biden out of the race. Listen, as much as I saw the debate and you wondered where this was going to go, based on what we saw with Harris, if I not that I could get Hunter Biden, but maybe I'll reach out to one of the Donlins because I wouldn't be disingenuous if I was interviewing. I think it's Mike Donlin. I don't know, or Tom Donlin. Again, I confuse them. But anyhow, the Donlin was the senior advisor to the president. Both of them worked for him. But for them to argue he should have stayed in the race and he would have been better than Harris, that's tough to argue against. That's tough to argue against. Keep in mind, Harris, now granted, Harris blew through $1.5 billion, but he tells two things about Clooney that I want to mention. Again, I wish I could play the audio, but I'll have to find a clean version because the language makes it almost impossible. This portion of our program, folks, is brought to you by Arch Design Builders. Call them today, 401-207-4124. 401-207-4124. Arch Design Builders, whether it's a new kitchen or a new bathroom, or maybe you want to redo your basement, and maybe you're thinking of, would you like a new deck, or you have a special project in mind? Arch Design Builders. Call them today. Set up that free meeting. 401-207-4124. 401-207-4124. Call my friends, the great Ed and Roxanne. I'm anxious for you to meet with them. You meet with them, you're going to say, you're doing my kitchen. Custom build, remodel, family owned and operated. We're talking high-end custom build. Customer service is the best. It's Arch Design Builders. Ed and Roxanne are they're incredible. I would love for you to bring them into your home and set up the project. 401-218-9707. Two things about the Hunter Biden interview. And again, I really liked it. And I'll tell you why. And I can already see people, what? I'll tell you what he said about Clooney. I already see it. You being so ridiculed. Yes. Yeah, see, here's what I like about the Hunter Biden interview. And again, some of the far right, the extreme Kool-Aid drinking MAGAs that even President Trump said, stop being so stupid, won't get. It's tough to find people. I'm drawn to people who are authentic. I'm drawn to people who are raw. I've spent so much time over the years interviewing, time with people running for office or holding office. They're really not that authentic. And it becomes talking points. There were no talking points with Hunter Biden. There were none. But here's what I love about Clooney, that I didn't know this. Number one, so he wrote Hunter Biden is going off on him about writing the op-ed piece to the New York Times. And apparently he was encouraged to write by President Obama. And so what Hunter Biden discloses is that Clooney's wife had an arrest warrant for, let me just get rid of this. I can't stand people that put a comment like that. Are you kidding me? Yes. No, I'm not kidding you. That's why I'm saying it. Are you kidding me? You have something positive? Yes. I enjoyed the interview. I did. I'm being very authentic at the moment. Yes. You don't like it? Move along. You're supposed to, I get it. You're supposed to say blah, blah. You're supposed to say, yeah, I get that. Benny and Charlie Kirk and, they're all, you're not supposed to say you like, I didn't say I'd like Hunter Biden. I said I found the interview entertaining. I was very entertained by it. And he's so angry about it. There's something appealing of just how much he hates these people that got the father out of the race. So yes, it's way better than any interview that's out there, talking about Jeffrey Epstein. By the way, I'm on Newsmax tomorrow, 11:30. Subscribers will get a reminder on that. But anyhow, two parts about Clooney. One, so apparently, I didn't know this. The wife, Clooney's wife, she was involved, I think in London, with drafting an arrest warrant that if Netanyahu went to London, that he would be arrested for whatever, for killing the people in Gaza. And so Biden was asked about it. I don't really remember this, but I don't pay attention that much at the time. But Biden was asked, and Biden was asked, well, would you issue an arrest warrant if Netanyahu came to the United States? And Biden said, I believe something akin to, I don't think I have the power to do that. And supposedly George Clooney was so angry at that he was texting White House staff, that's it. You think I'm going to throw a fundraiser for this guy? Like, you've embarrassed me. You've embarrassed my wife. So it's very personal to begin with. And he was threatening to pull out of the fundraiser because he felt, here's my wife drafting this arrest warrant. Should Netanyahu go to London or in the UK somewhere? And then, I'm supposed to be excited and raise money. And then when President Biden is asked, he said, I don't know if I have the authority to do that, which was probably an honest answer. So Clooney was fuming and threatened to pull out. The other thing was, and this I do remember, was after, absolutely, yes, there are no talking points here. There's no talking points. As someone, listen, with this trial that I covered, everything was talking points. There were no talking points here. No way. He is just going off. But anyhow, the other thing about Clooney was Jack Black, who I used to like, but Jack Black was on tour. And he did I think he did a version of, I do remember now, he did a version, Jack Black. Do you remember he's the actor? He's in a lot of different stuff. School of Rock. He was in one of the Farrelly Brothers films. I think, anyhow, I don't remember exactly the name of it. It was the one where the guy that, what's his name? George from Seinfeld was also in it. Jason Alexander. So anyhow, he was in Jack Black was on tour, and the guy that was the leader of his band right after President Trump, they had the assassination attempt in Butler last summer. Jack Black is on stage, and they mention it. And the guy who is his wingman, head of his band, the guy makes a remark on stage. I think they were somewhere like either New Zealand or Australia, and says something akin to "next time aim better" or something like that. And the audience is laughing and they're aghast. And so, according to in this interview, it comes out that Clooney immediately started contacting Jack Black and started saying, if you don't get rid of that guy, you are done in this town and you're going to face consequences and blah, blah, blah. By the way, when Jack Black he ended the tour and he said, I can't work with this guy, needs mental health and so forth. I thought it was too little too late. And I thought that there's nothing funny about a statement like that. So, but behind the scenes, that sent Hunter Biden way off. He then, when he heard the Clooney story, which, by the way, George Clooney, for that, he wasn't wrong. I don't know about this business that he's the one contacting Jack Black saying, hey, you have to, get rid of that guy. So I don't know if that needs, if that needed to be done. So look at how these people, they're just absolutely impossible. Let me just get rid of that. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. I think we're good. Nope. I'm still seeing it. I don't know why I'm still seeing it. Just bear with me, everybody. On second thought, maybe I won't do the 4:30 thing. All right. Now, at 1:38, folks, I want to remind you right now. There we go. Okay. We're back on track. They're such idiots. They just are. There's nothing you can do about it. One thing, and I'm not going to get off track here because then I'll go way off track. But something that just stands out is that I have to remember that there are people that believe, I won't get into it, believe the whole conspiracy with I'm not going down the rabbit hole of the Caribbean thing. It's not worth it. But I forget sometimes, like, oh, wait a minute, that's right. There are people out there that still, believe there were all these people in the house and everything else. Folks, this portion of our program is brought. Let's talk about something positive, like Serve Pro of Providence. Now, last night there was a bad fire in West Greenwich. Serve Pro of Providence. That's who I would call. 401-941-5500. 401-941-5500. Serve Pro of Providence. They're fast, they're thorough, they're professional. If you have a fire or maybe flood, water damage, or mold, call Serve Pro of Providence today. Fast, thorough, professional. 401-941-5500. Serve Pro of Providence. They're available 24/7. They'll take it on. So when disaster strikes, restoration, reliability results. Serve Pro of Providence. And they'll put it back, your business, your home, like it never happened. They're ready 24/7. Restore your property. The trusted team, Serve Pro of Providence. Call them today, 401-941-5500. Serve Pro of Providence. Well, folks, good afternoon. Again, I get that some people would not be able to understand the entertainment, but I'm telling you, he goes after David Axelrod, who is, he was one of the Obama guys. He goes after Carville. He goes after Jake Tapper. And it just, to me, it just lands differently it just lands differently because he's one of them. And I realize a lot of people are probably not going to watch it, but without question, it is worth watching. I found it highly entertaining. So, which brings us to where are we with Rhode Island right now? Well, you heard yesterday that Tom Homan and ICE, folks, they're going to step it up. And it's, I'm actually okay with the fact that it's very clear to me that our local press also shares resentment towards ICE. I mentioned yesterday, someone that used to be a state trooper, they were all celebrating because a former state trooper wrote a piece in the Providence Journal and said, there should be, no secret police in the United States of America. David Doucette, Rhode Island State Police, retiring as a detective lieutenant. As law enforcement officers, we've all faced threats, not these types of threats. I don't know David Doucette. I put out, hey, if someone knows him, if you could reach out to him, I'd like to get a hold of him. I think I did get a phone number sent to me from someone. But this business of, I think someone that talks that way doesn't understand what they have gone under. And again, when I played on the radio, Providence City Council President Rachel Miller, and her criticism of the Providence police when they had to break up a house party on the night of the 4th of July, and then the whole incident with ICE. You know what she never touches on? And so I posted the full body cam video regarding the Providence police arriving on scene. I did post that. But what I should, and I did pull initially, and I'll probably have to post it on YouTube, but the language that the Providence police have to put up with, folks, you should, and no one criticizes the crowd. Rachel Miller, who's the head of the Providence City Council, at no point does she say, I did hear the language that was directed at our police officers, and I found it atrocious and insulting. And the language aimed at them is just, it is, you have to hear. I obviously can't play it on the radio, but God bless me, the lack of respect and the way they're yelling at them. For what? There was an accident. They want to remove an MS-13 gang member. The head of the Providence City Council, Rachel Miller, was saying, I want to use this as the whole situation with ICE and that. I want to use this as a never again moment. What are you talking about? Number one, if you have an opportunity to take someone off the street, if you have the opportunity to remove a gang member off the street who is trafficking in fentanyl, then they should be taken off the street. If you have a gang member trafficking in fentanyl who also happens to be in the country illegally, who is it that would remove that person? That would be ICE. So their reasoning makes no sense to me. And she doesn't answer things. Granted, the channel, whoever that was from Channel 10, it could have been a photographer. The audio was terrible. But this whole business, they don't really ask, what would you do differently? So I don't think our police, so ICE is supposed to, stand there trying to get the guy, and then they're surrounded by an angry mob, all to protect a gang member from Honduras who traffics fentanyl. It makes no sense, but they're not asked the right questions. They're just not asked the right questions. And as I've also stated, folks, many times, and I don't know the answer to this. You know what some of the local politicians say? And that is, well, our officers are not immigration officers, so we're not going to, well, guess what? Actually, when you let this number of people in, you have turned your police officers into immigration officers, because they're many times going into situations They don't know who these people are. They can't locate them for court. What are they supposed to do if they're released? They're impossible to find. Many of them have 4 names. They don't have any permanent address. They just disappear into the system. It's not akin to if you arrest Harry Jones of Smithfield. They see Harry Jones has always lived in Smithfield. He went to Smithfield High School. He, dropped out of Bryant. This is where he lives. This is where the parents live. There's some paper trail of this individual. These people have no paper trail. So who knows where they are? They just disappear. They never show up for court. To me, it should have been regarded as a win. They removed a dangerous gang member who traffics in fentanyl off the street. How is that a lose? And what does the Providence City Council president say? It was a never again moment. I'm telling you, folks, I don't get it. And granted, I don't live in Providence. Folks, remember, call Corey at Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401-283-9815. 401-283-9815 for quality asphalt seal coating. They will epoxy your garage or patio, decorative concrete flooring. It's quality asphalt seal coating. Call Corey, 401-283-9815. They're very good social media presence. They can make your payment look like new. And they also keep your parking lot safe. But they epoxy garages and patios. They do decorative concrete flooring. They can also resurface a sport court, pickleball court, tennis court, basketball court. Call Corey, free estimate, quality asphalt seal coating, 401-283-9815. And once again, you can look for them. They have great Facebook, Instagram stuff, I believe. They do a fantastic job. Folks, it's quality asphalt seal coating. Call Corey. Well, folks, good afternoon at 1:48. I don't know. It'll be a game time decision. We may be back. We may be back at 4:30. Let me see how the afternoon plays out. But you could tell, like, the Providence Journal was thrilled to run a story, or an op-ed, I should say. It's not a story. It's an opinion column written by this David Doucette. Served 25 years in the Rhode Island State Police, retiring as a detective lieutenant, in this whole business of because ICE covered their faces. Well, again, I'm going to come back to what they're ignoring is you have undercover police. We have different people that work undercover. Not only do they work undercover, they give false names. If you followed Joe Pistone and Donnie Brasco, they created a complete fake identity. Overseas, we have people, right? CIA agents that work in undercover roles. So there's nothing that's not true. But just in local police, Rhode Island State Police, they have people that work undercover. Many times when I'm doing a raid, many times when I'm covering a raid, they ask me not to go live. And why do they ask me to go live? Because they have undercover officers there. And I accommodate them. And that's Rhode Island State Police. So if you stay with that mindset and that argument, basically, so when the Rhode Island State Police are trying to infiltrate whoever, let's just say some kind of a gang, where they're pretending to either they have weapons to sell or they are looking to buy drugs or weapons, whatever it may be. To follow that mindset, they should not be undercover. They should not be using a fake name. They should not be using a fake identity. They should be, show up in a uniform? How's that going to go? Not very well is the answer to that. Not very well. So, I also just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I know that Governor Healy talked about the Fall River fire situation. See, I look at, like, right now, Providence Police Oversight Board slams department for internal failures. What internal failures? What are they talking about? Violent crime is down. Violent crime is way down, as a matter of fact. So I have no idea what they're talking about. Their method of policing, see, many times they just react to something they see going on somewhere else. I want to just double check and see if I can. I am curious to see. David Swetzer, owner of the Providence Superman Building, dies at 70. I was wrong. I thought 2013. Do you know he bought that in 2008? He's coming up on 20 years of leaving it vacant. Here it is. Providence Police Over. Let me just read both, actually, because I just want to see what they've read about him. He was 7. Beloved friend, titan in the real estate industry. He'll be missed. High Rock Development. Well, he bought a building in 2008 and it's still vacant. So spare me the. He was a visionary business leader. Oh my God. He did nothing. He left that building vacant. Should have knocked it down a long time ago or done something with it. But, it's been a gun to the head of negotiations. Providence Police Oversight Board slams department for internal failures. The civilian body that oversees the Providence Police is claiming they've repeatedly obstructed its efforts to investigate police misconduct and recommend discipline. Providence External Review Authority, known as PERA, slammed Mayor Smiley's administration for cutting the board's budget to. They have a budget of $519,000. Oh my God! Cut it by 28%. What do they do? Multiple vacant jobs were cut in the city budget. Policy advisor position. Executive director Frank Caroli. I don't even know who these people are. 3-page statement criticized the reinstatement of Sergeant Joe Hanley. The Providence Police wanted to get rid of Hanley. They tried to fire him. That's the State House that won't let them fire him. Wanted to fire him. Panel of law enforcement officers allowed him to stay. Smiley's appealing the decision. What more is he supposed to do? The board is civilian panel created 2002, investigates alleged misconduct by Providence police officers. Board members are unpaid. 3 staff members. I don't get it. But currently has 3 staff members, including executive director, administrative assistant, and 1 investigator. One is a lawyer, former deputy chief of Middletown Police Department. Majority of police recommendations, blah, blah, blah. It's just more nonsense, folks, I find. It's just more anti-police stuff. Why do they have that type of... Oh, my God. They're going to investigate the Providence police officers' interactions with ICE agents at the immigration arrest. Police are not allowed to help with civil immigration enforcement, regardless of the reason the person's being detained. The suspect in the case had been charged with trafficking fentanyl by Providence police. Absolutely. Like this is, this is inmates running the asylum is what this is. That's exactly what it is. Folks, this portion of our program on what is a delightful weather Tuesday, and it's brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Call them today. Especially remember, they have a great package if you're a veteran. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. Free estimate, any project. Call them today. 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. Now, they'll come out, give you a free estimate. Why not get your driveway paved? And especially, remember, if you're a veteran, they have a great package for veterans. It's J. Perry Paving. 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. Letter J. J. Perry Paving. If your dad is a veteran, maybe you're a veteran, your grandfather, your son, high quality, and they have a great package for veterans. Get your driveway paved. Hey, maybe your next door neighbor or someone on your street also wants to get their driveway paved. Now we're talking. Free estimate, any project. Call them today, 401 732 1730, letter J. It's J. Perry Paving. Now, I also want to recommend, if you want to enjoy your property the way I'm able to enjoy my property, Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. They come and they treat your property. And this is such a great company. I share their Facebook page. They're efficient. Their follow-up is tremendous. Call Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island, 401-426-2032. Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island, 401-426-2032. You get to enjoy your property. Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. Now, who else? Let's see. Brenda was asking me, who's the lawn care company that I recommend? Brenda, you want to call or contact Lawn Doctor. Lawn Doctor of Rhode Island. If you log onto their website, lawndoctor.com, you just type in your zip code and you can request a quote. But remember, it's your best lawn ever, guaranteed. It's Lawn Doctor of Rhode Island. And take advantage right now. You know, they do the crabgrass control. They do broadleaf grassy weed control. They prevent grubs. They are just, it may, you know, your lawn will look like Augusta National. The easiest way I find, I mean, I could give you a phone number, but if you just log on, they have a great website, lawndoctor.com, and then you just put in your zip code, get a quick, easy quote at lawndoctor.com. I mean, they do have a phone number, 401-392-1025. But Lawn Doctor Rhode Island is your lawn care company. And remember what they say, your best lawn ever, guaranteed, with Lawn Doctor. Well, folks, good afternoon. You know, I don't know. Maybe we'll do the 4:30. I'll have to see if there's anything really to talk about. I was going to talk about the fact this juror that went to plead guilty, first appearance. I thought this was in downtown Boston, that, you know, you had local media there and they wanted to talk to her or film her, and they provided her a way to get out. So why is that? And I know some people are trying to say, oh, it's all tied to the CDL, the commercial driving license. Well, those troopers, they had to walk the gauntlet. How come this Jessica Leslie, how come she didn't have to walk the gauntlet? Is she a defendant or is she a witness? I think that's interesting. Her and her father didn't have to walk the gauntlet. The feds helped her escape another route. I find that very interesting. We'll see. Maybe we'll talk at 4:30. We're definitely doing Road Patrol Live later. Folks, it's a beautiful Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, we will make a game time decision and maybe see you later.